people often think self-responsibility is like blaming yourself.
Yeah, it's
And
kind of like instead of blaming them, I'm going to blame me. But I'm in
yeah,
enough trouble already at work, at home, with the kids, with the finances already. I don't want any more blame. So it's
yeah,
kind of like, shit, can't this be your problem?
yeah. And the problem with blaming ourselves is we're in this culture that's punishing. And so if you're bad or wrong, then that assumes that you need to be punished, right? So
Yeah.
blame leads to the punishment. And
And
so
do we get into
self-responsibility.
that? Is it your perception that we punish ourselves?
Ah, we punish ourselves mercilessly, really. We all know who's the hardest on us, right? And it's always when
Yeah.
I ask that at a workshop, everybody says me, right?
Yeah.
And we're in this
Yeah.
paradigm, which is punishing paradigm. We've grown up being punished at home, at school, and in our culture. We still think that punishing people somehow brings the best out of them, but it doesn't. It just shuts people down, makes them fear based, makes them angry. Just think about yourself. If you punish yourself, it just
Oh, yeah.
diminishes the love,
This is
the joy, the
yeah.
happiness. So it's a
Yep.
really big myth at the moment. I call it the punishment myth. And we're all just
Yeah.
seduced by this punishment thing, and we just assume that it works because everybody does it. But nobody stops and looks and
Wow.
goes, what's the
There's
consequences of this?
Well, I think there's a legend out there that says, like when we see people go to jail, we say, well, that'll stop them. Like, you even hear it in the news about, we need punishment that is a deterrent. So
Yeah,
it
let's
doesn't
send them
stop
to
murder and
jail.
mayhem.
Let's send them to
Sorry.
jail so they can get a proper education from the people
Yeah,
who really do it at the next level.
that's
And,
right.
my child's dead or whatever, that doesn't bring the child back. There's no
No,
healing in that. There's no transformation. The parents aren't going to be happier now that this
no.
person's, just locked down and the paradigm, the punishment paradigm, put them in jail where they've got to suffer. Whereas why do people hurt each other? Is always because they hurt themselves. And so the problem is we're not addressing the real issue, which is people that hurt other people need healing. They need
Yeah.
personal growth. They need to come open their heart and heal whatever it is that they're acting out.
So when I do the damage to me that we've been talking about, I am by far the most critical, damaging person to me. When I do that to me, it's kind of like I'm justifying it because of my bad behaviour, because
Yeah.
I deserve it. But that's a bit circular, isn't it? That's not going to heal me.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if you look at it closely, the weird logic is that if I do something bad, I deserve to be punished so that I can be a good person again.
Yeah.
So, from that point of view, we've been trained that punishing ourselves is an act of love.
Mm.
But the reality is that we get grumpy, moody, irritable. We're harder to be around when we're being hard on ourselves. And
Yeah.
how do we get out of this? The key is self awareness again, is like, what do I actually feel about, snapping at my kids or being short or not caring about somebody? If we come,
Mm.
come back to what's the actual experience that's happening inside, like where am I acting this out from? Again, we can open up doors to compassion and to
Hmm.
softness and to healing and forgiveness and bringing the best out in us.
Yeah. So that's going to bring out the best in us, but it's also going to bring out the best in those around us as well, because we're going to be easing
It's
up on
the
them.
best thing we can do.
Yeah.
It's the best. Yeah, loving ourselves is the best thing that we can give to anybody in our life, isn't it?
Yeah. And I've heard it said a million times in the personal development field. You have to learn to love yourself, or you have to love yourself, or you have to believe in yourself. And it's all been a bit mysterious to me. It's all been a bit.
Yeah,
That doesn't fit with the woodwork teacher, because my question is, well, how, mate?
yeah,
How?
yeah,
So what have you got on that? Like, what have you
yeah,
got in terms of how do I love myself? How do I be easier on me? How do I practically
yeah. Yeah.
do these things?
Well, I personally think the worst thing that we do to our self esteem is punish ourselves. So we're just talking
Yep.
about that, right? And
Yep.
that's been conditioned into us, and we've just swallowed the pill because it was given to us, and we haven't stopped and
Mhm.
looked. This is actually
Yep.
nuts, but we live in a primitive and barbaric time where we still believe in punishing people. So we need to, like, first of all, realize that doesn't actually bring out the best in us. And then, there's the next level down for me about self love is to come inside and open up my heart. And my experience and experience of people that I work with is that we are love, you know,
Mhm.
that that's who we are at our core is love. So you don't
Yep.
have to love yourself, really. You already are love. You just need to be
Yes.
loving then, which is an expression of that love, right? And what
Yeah.
would that kind of like loving parent be like? Our own inner
Yeah.
parent. Well, that loving parent will be kind and gentle and understanding. And how
Yep.
do you do that is a good question. And I think, again, self-awareness takes us a big way there, because the work that I specialize in doing is helping people to get below the stories in our head and connect to the emotions and our heart, and realize that in the background there are often emotions that are unresolved that are driving our behavior, causing stress and anxiety and conflict and things. And
Yep.
when we actually can identify those drivers, those repressed emotions, and start to
Mm.
work with them in a positive way, they actually become fuel for us to live our life more fully, which is their good purpose.
Uh-huh. So what do you say to someone who says, "Well, I don't want to go delving into that stuff because it's going to overwhelm me, and I'm terrified of it, and um,
Uh,
I
yeah,
don't know that's going to work anyway. Isn't
you
this
have a
just more torture?"
you have a few different responses to that. It comes back to what you mentioned before, which is like, how much pain and suffering do we need to go through before we decide to do something
Yes.
different? Right?
Yes.
So just keep on doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. That's one
Yeah.
level of that. Is like, always, how big does the pain have to get? And it's like a balance, isn't there? On this side there's pain, and on this side there's the fear of facing what's going on. Right? And when the pain gets bigger than the fear, then we do something about it and we turn
That's right.
inside.
Yep. Yep.
So, how bad does it have to get? And so, the key to living your life joyously is actually being proactive about turning and facing the things that are scary and uncomfortable and shameful before they become painful. Making changes
Yep.
in our life before we're living in a lot of pain is the key to living joyously.